So I can't do this, Mike?
Preferably not, yeah.
Can I do this?
Yeah, you're going to see your forearm.
Is it distracting?
Are you Italian?
Me, no.
Oh.
I'm half Greek, and the other half is a piece of shit.
If I were to have a podcast.
If I were to have a podcast.
Andy, podcast, hopefully only take. There we go.
Mighty fine clap.
Thank you.
It was a
I
good
practice. Do you know how long I
shows.
practiced that clap?
Yep.
Long.
You were clapping all night, weren't you?
I was.
Now you just need symbols.
That's how I get symbols, yes. That's what we need to have here. No, we don't. Because can you imagine him with symbols? That would be, horrible. Horrible.
I would have been great in marching band.
I know. No.
Oh, see, I was
time,
thinking the monkey with the...
Yes. That's what's going on up here. That's exactly what it is. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of If I Were to Have a Podcast. We have a very, very special guest on today, somebody that was the first person to ever fly around the United States in a giant balloon. He was the balloon boy, the original balloon boy.
Very impressive.
Yes, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. We have Mr. Andy Jacobson. How are you?
I'm good. I just came back from a balloon ride.
Nice. Nice. You feeling a little high?
I do,
Yeah,
yes.
good.
You know, I was in New Mexico,
Yep,
at first, and, and just circled really quickly also.
Yeah.
It only took me 2 days.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I'm that good.
He's that
I don't
good.
weigh a lot, though, so that's why.
Oh, man, better man than me. Well, Gerry,
Yes.
how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, Mike. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay.
That's
Yeah,
a shame.
I know it is, but what are you going to do? I'm really, really excited to have you here because we've known you for a while now.
Yeah.
A little over a day, and but we're not going to give you an introduction.
Okay.
All right.
That's no problem.
I will have I'll have Gerry ask a very special question.
Okay, so Andy,
Yes.
if you were to have a podcast, what would it be?
If I were to have a podcast, what's for you? It would. Damn. I would probably talk about things that happen in the coffee shop without fear that anybody would get mad at me that I'm talking about them
Well,
in pure satire form. Satirical? Satire?
Satirical.
Satirical. There we go.
satirical.
All right.
The fact that you corrected someone
Yes.
on their something grammatically.
What, you think I have bad grammar, do I?
Yes, does you
Does I have bad grammar? I have impeccable grammar.
impenetrable.
Impeccable. Anyway, so yeah.
So that I like that a lot. And for people who don't know, what is the coffee shop that you're referring to?
Brew'd Awakening Coffeehaus. I was going to say something silly, but no. Brew'd Awakening Coffeehaus over in downtown Lowell.
Nice.
Ah.
And you are. And what is your role there?
Owner, CEO, CFO, CTO, COO, CIO, grunt,
Grunt.
psychiatrist, psychologist, caffeine peddler. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
So again, only a couple things.
Just
Yeah,
a-
you don't do much there.
Just a minor.
Yeah. And how long have you been all of those things there?
18 years. Yes, 18
Wow.
years.
Has it all been the same location?
Yes. Yep.
That's
So, yeah, and it'll be the only location, minus the truck, but
Yes.
it'll be the only
Nice.
brick and mortar location.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I do want you to talk about the truck later.
Okay.
But for now, with Brew'd, so you have been, and you've been the only. Has that been yours for 18
yes,
years?
I started it and opened it and launched it, and
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yep.
What's been the secret sauce for keeping it going for 18 years?
I have no idea. I mean, I guess consistency for one thing. But we have improved over the years. I try to learn from, the mistakes that I make, and I still make mistakes. I'm not gonna lie. The employees are another thing. They are great. And I do love them all. I want to smack them, and just like parents want to smack their kids. But I can't.
Well, you could.
I could. Yes. Well, actually, I kind of do. I do the little lick with against the forehead or the wet willy.
Even during COVID, tisk tisk.
Yeah.
Tisk tisk. Yeah.
It was just harder to get the lick in because the mask was on. But no. I mean, the employees are great. I mean, and they're a big part of it as well. Without them, I can't do whatever I do and make it work. So, but like everything, we have our ups and downs, we have our bad days, but it overall, the consistency, staying open. So we're open 7 days a week. We're consistent with our hours. I very rarely close. I think I've been closed one full day in the 18 years, and that was state of emergency when Deval Patrick was in. I didn't realize at that point that I was able to open because I'm considered a, what do you call the word?
Essential business?
Yes, essential, yes.
Essential, got it.
So, so I learned that, and my employees hate me now because I never close. So,
hey, you're providing work for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They get paid.
Yeah, keeping them employed.
I feel my thing is if I feel safe to drive, then everyone else should be able to get there. I don't know if the logic
Do you ever
really
not feel
works.
safe driving?
No, because I will drive in everything and anything. So
That's true.
I can. I've never felt unsafe driving. I take it slow here and there, but I like driving. I like driving in the snow.
Same.
Really?
Yeah.
You're both insane. That's the one thing I hate about it. My wife loves the snow. And I'm like, yeah, because you don't have your license and you don't have a car and you don't have to drive in it. I was like, I absolutely hate that. Like, I like the snow, but I hate
It's because
driving.
you were born in California.
Yeah,
We were born here.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but I came over really early. Okay, I was like
it doesn't
5 years
matter.
old.
Doesn't matter.
So I know my blood is still Californian.
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 Yes, there we go. So
Yeah.
I knew that one.
See, I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, but I don't know how you like that. How you like driving in the snow.
I don't mind it, and I
the
actually
way you
kind of like when you make the turn and the backside just goes a little bit, but you just have to know how to drive it.
I did. I liked that too once, and then I hit a snowbank and then a truck. So
You hit a snowbank and then a truck.
I hit a snowbank, then a truck. Yeah, it was coming down. I know that people that aren't around the area don't know anything about this when they're listening to it or watching it. But I was coming down Aiken Ave, and there's like a little curve where my old apartment used to be when I lived in Lowell. And I was coming down, and then I turned, and then my car just kept going straight. I hit a snowbank, and then I hit a truck that was parked.
So the truck was parked.
The truck was parked.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right.
So, and then as I was waiting, I went to go open the door, and I was like, this was, oh my God, I may have been like 17 or something, and or 18, and I was like, oh, I want to call my dad first. I was like, I need to see what I need to do before I get out. And then I stopped the door, I closed the door, and then as soon as I closed the door, a car hit me. And they slid in the same area and hit my driver's side door. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm good. Everything ended up being okay. The guy that was inside was like, I went up, I was like, hey, I hit your truck. And he was like, did you hit the Nissan? And I was like, no. He goes, we're fine. And then he closed the door. And I was like, cool.
All right, good.
Yeah, great.
But now you got insurance from the other person who hit you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we ended up being pretty lenient with her because she seemed really nice and had her kids with her, and we had a soft heart for that. But, we could have taken her for everything that she owned.
Yeah, take the kids.
Yeah, take the kids. Now I have a little brother. I need you as my lawyer. I need you as my lawyer next time. But yes, the snow. Damn the snow.
Yeah. So,
but I guess if you enjoy it, whatever. Good for you. It's fun. I mean, it is pretty around Lowell and stuff during the winter time, and especially downtown and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it is nice
when the lights are on and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so I agree.
Yeah, so it has its perks, I guess. But insane people. Oh my God. So I'm gonna circle back a little. What was why coffee? So you opened up this 18 years ago, almost 2 decades ago, which is crazy.
Yep.
Good for you. But why coffee? Have you always been in and around coffee? Like what was?
No,
what
I didn't
got
drink
you?
coffee when I opened.
No.
No.
Oh my God. That's like if he opened a bar and didn't drink any alcohol.
Yeah, I was a
before.
tea drinker. So I went for my grad school for nonprofit public management, and because I really wanted to open up a nonprofit, and the nonprofit was going to be a job training not organization with a cafe for them to go through and get some job skills at the same time. So, abbreviating the story a little bit, the whole idea, I loved it. The whole tax non-tax issue between the cafe and that, for my brain, just at that point was just more than I wanted to deal with. So I decided to just go for the nonprofit side. And unfortunately, the whole idea of asking people for money for something that hasn't even begun or opened yet, that just sort of kind of freaked me out. So I went back to the idea of, how about the coffee shop? The coffee shop can be still community-based. And, and this sort of, for me, logically made sense. I'm giving you something in exchange for something right away, whether you like it or not at that point, but there was an equal exchange for money for service. So that fit well in my head, and so I decided to go with the coffee shop. And I actually, when I was looking at the different coffees from the various companies, I bought a small coffee grinder for my friend, and I shipped her all the beans and had her try them out for me and tell me what was good. So that's sort of what led that into there. And I was looking at Haverhill and Methuen because I was living there at the time, Lawrence and Lowell. And just at that time, Lowell seemed to be a little bit further ahead than Lawrence. The downtown of Methuen just really wasn't much of a downtown at that point. I know it's done a little bit more over the several years. And Haverhill, at that time, some of the businesses were there. I just didn't get a friendly vibe when I just went to talk to them about, how is opening business there. And it was not even any coffee shops in the area. So I wasn't even talking to any potential competitors. Yeah. But so ended up going to Lowell, and been in the same spot since. And I do drink coffee now, and
that's good.
And now I roast coffee. So so it's definitely been a huge change over the 18 years. Yeah.
Very nice.
Nice. So that's one of the things that actually keeps me going to your location is that you roast your own beans. So can you tell us how you source your own beans as well?
Yeah. So a couple of different ways. Most of them are from importers that do it. So companies. So I've got my Ethiopian, my Nicaraguan, my decaf, Peruvian, and my Indian. I think that's it. And a Colombian that I get from one organic importer. Then I've got my Costa Rican, which I purchased from actually this one guy who does his own roasting and sells, but I've had a good relationship with him, so I buy the coffee from him for that. And then my Vietnamese I get from a different supplier that is a lot smaller and does certain, niche ones. So I used to have a Cambodian bean, which I would import myself, and I was working with a nonprofit in Cambodia that was working with farmers, and so that worked out well until the end of 2019, 2020, when that organization closed, and I just couldn't find anybody to pick up what they were doing. So I ended up having to, unfortunately, stop that. But that was cool because in any place I always go visit the farmers, but I went to visit the farmers a couple of times, and, so that was always nice. I would like to try to find somehow to get some Thailand beans, though. So I got a sample from one vendor when I was there in August. He does an interesting he has an interesting process for his beans, which were kind of cool, but he doesn't import that much out. So, if I want to, maybe I can get 10 pounds at a time or something like that, but nothing, maybe just do a specialty here and there. But yeah, gotcha. So think those are all the beans that I get. Yeah.
What are some of the things you look for when you're sourcing them?
One is I do well, so I try to get a little bit of unique beans where I can. And try to do some things a little bit different. Like for the Ethiopian, a lot of folks roast theirs more to a medium, somewhere in that realm for roast. So I was looking for an Ethiopian bean that I could go a little bit darker. And that's actually my dark roast and probably one of my more popular beans. The Vietnamese one was, at that point, nobody was really doing a Vietnamese bean around here. There was a bunch of the shops and all that, but I don't know if they actually use a Vietnamese coffee. I think they use a lot of the chicory-based coffees, which I can't remember the name. That's escaping me, but there really wasn't anyone that was doing Vietnamese. So when I couldn't do the Cambodian bean anymore, which was the more unique one, the most, because nobody was doing that. I think I was in the U.S. I was probably one of two of roasters for that in a big level. But when that ended, I wanted to try it again to do something that it wasn't being around here, and so I figured there is a large Vietnamese population as well, and that was one of the reasons why the Cambodian bean was good. So I went with Vietnamese on that. For the Indian one that I use, and I mixed that up with my espresso beans, that one was because no one is really doing an Indian bean around here, and really a lot in the vicinity that I can see. And I liked how it provides. I like the crema that it provides to the espresso. The Costa Rican I add to it adds a little bit more of the sweetness to it, but it's not an overly sweet espresso mix. But I wanted a little bit of sweetness, but the Indian, something a little bit different, and it brings out a little bit of the crema.
I noticed that actually while I brewed it at home.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a big thick crema.
Yeah. So which I liked, and so that's where I get the beans and why.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yes. I know that, not only Gerry here, but myself and a lot of other people are a huge fan of your coffee and everything that you do. And even a while ago, we did an episode, which I mentioned to you, where, him and Dan were doing cupping, and yours was clearly a standout. Yeah, I know that you haven't seen it yet, because while we're filming this, it's not out yet. But
roll the clip.
Yeah. But I'm just gonna roll the clip where you mentioned that one of them tastes like rat poison.
Yes.
Yeah. That's gonna be the clip.
Rat poison.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna. Yeah, is this rat poison? But yeah, no, it definitely stands out.
Yours was not the rat poison.
All right,
yeah, yours is not
good.
rat poison.
All
No.
right, good.
Yeah. No. We aren't gonna say which one was that, because you're just gonna have to watch it.
All right,
So,
that's good.
yes,
Yeah.
you-
No, I enjoy it. I wish, I think the next step for me is going to be hopefully a larger roaster, and one. Mine's definitely a lot more of a manual process. I have to keep my eyes on it a lot more than some of the other larger ones where you can program what you want to do and you just throw the beans in and it does what what it's supposed to do. But I enjoy also the little bit of manual, even though it takes a little bit longer to do it. But it is kind of nice to watch it a little bit more. I find it a little more soothing because I can watch the beans in their loft and have to listen a little bit more when the crack is coming, so I can hit my button to do the next thing. So,
Gotcha.
But the Thai one that I got, I do have to roast the next kilo that I bought. And which might be interesting for you guys to try, because it's their process. This farmer's process is a little bit different. So in the fermenting process with it, he actually ferments the beans with microorganisms and different fruits. So so when the green bean is fully done and dried, it's got a lot of fruit essence to it. So the first batch I got, I think I had a little bit more of, I was getting a little strawberry-ish out of it, where the second one is a little more lychee forward. So it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've only done it as a pour over here. My friend who's actually out in California now, I sent her some and she made it as espresso and said that it was pretty good. It lost a little of the fruit flavor from it, but so
Nice.
yeah, so I like to experiment with,
Yeah.
trying to get some different beans when I'm at different places, and
Yeah.
also, having a coffee shop also makes for a nice travel experience because everywhere is a coffee shop, and if there's coffee farms, even better.
Yep.
And what does that mean? Business expense.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a business expense. Yeah.
So my travels are always.
I have to go to Thailand.
Yeah,
Business expense.
Hell, even Croatia. When I went, they don't do coffee. They don't. I mean, they don't have coffee farms really.
Yeah.
But cafes. I brought home a couple of ideas and thoughts from there, and I thought
business trip.
business exactly. So.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's always nice.
Just, hopefully the IRS does not watch our podcast or listen to it. No,
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Otherwise,
Especially
you
with
are
me.
also screwed. Yes.
I take pictures literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
vacation I
everywhere's
ever
a
go
write-off.
on.
I am always.
Yes.
I take pictures of me always at the coffee farms, and I've got the receipts.
No, that's right. That's right. No, it's all legit. But
Yep.
also, everybody take notes. Yeah. No,
If
that's
you want to learn how to avoid taxes, contact me.
yeah.
Yes.
Direct
Contact
message,
him.
please.
Yeah.
if
Or
you
Andy
go in, if
directly.
you go into a water business, I guess
That's-
there you go.
That's
Yeah,
true.
There's always a stream somewhere.
That's nice. All day. I feel like we're going to hear a lot more of these. I like it. So, talking business for a second
Okay.
and the fun part, taxes. No, but you're, in addition to running the business,
Yeah.
there's also something else that you started where you're teaching more about business and about specifically coffee shops. Is that correct?
So Middlesex approached me and asked if I'd be interested in doing a class, and so the class is cafe management. So this is the first semester of it.
How's it going?
Let's see. It's good. I mean, I like it. I do wish there were more students in it. And,
How many?
So there was room for 12. I had 6. 2 dropped. So I have 4. So
What are you doing, Andy?
I don't know.
What are you doing to make them
It's
leave?
Easy class. Students, go to classes, please. Help your professors out. Do the work.
Do the work.
Yes. They're nice people. They're
Yeah.
all good people. I mean, I don't know them all really personally,
Yeah.
but
Except for the 2 bastards that dropped. Yeah, it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can say it.
One
yeah.
was Serena Williams.
Yep.
So
Nice.
I think
She had other things to do?
I think so.
Gotcha.
I think she was the one that just had the kid, right, out of the 2.
Yeah.
So, and with tennis, maybe going back
Yeah.
here and there. So I thought this was going to be her second new career after retiring, but
she is a
Gotta go have
fan
that baby.
she is a fan of the podcast.
Yes.
So
Okay. Good.
She watches
come back,
it and listens
Serena,
to it all
come
the time.
back, Serena.
Yeah.
But no, that actually was one of the person's names.
Was it
but
really?
I never met her.
That's funny.
So, so the class is good. I mean, the whole idea of the class is twofold. Is in the end, or actually threefold. In the end, they develop a business plan on starting a cafe.
Okay.
And we kind of tweaked it a little bit where some of them wanted to do more of a restaurant. So one's doing a food truck, and another's doing actually the other 2 are doing both food trucks. So,
Okay.
So 2 are doing
So it's still like
cafe,
food-oriented.
2 exactly.
Gotcha.
Yep. So the end product is going to be a little different for all of them, but it's all the same idea and the same learning skills that you need. And so that was one. So in the end, you learn the business plan. So you're writing a business plan.
Yep.
What you need to do and step by step. So I'm having them go out and actually interview somebody who's in their business, and they have to put together questions and
nice.
go interview and talk to someone and try to get information that's going to help you get a better idea, as well as for the business plan, some information you need.
Yeah.
The second aspect is the management style of it. So there's a lot of anecdotes from me talking about there was a class on employees. can go on for hours on that.
Yes.
There's a class on customers, things to expect, everything from the reviews, do you read them? What do you do? How do you respond?
Yep.
To loyalty programs, to who your customers are, obviously, but the management aspect of them.
Yeah.
And, again, talked about anecdotes of things that happened to me as, that I've seen, and I had to deal with things that I never thought I would have to ever deal with. I was just wanting to serve coffee. I didn't realize I needed to tell people, stop picking your scab and sprinkling it all over my store. But
Sorry about that.
But apparently those are things that you have to say every now and then.
Okay.
Yes. And then it's, there's the revenue side. There's, like last class, we were talking about vendors and, your cost of goods. So the next one is going to be your expenses. So I'm showing them my P&Ls, so I'm transparent and open with them, with everything. So, but a lot of that is the management and what you do with those numbers and how you look at those numbers. So, so those two end products. And then the third thing is that Middlesex wants to, the whole idea of this is that they want to have a little coffee cart in front of their library. Gotcha. And so those that go through the class, who are typically either business students or hospitality or culinary students, they have the option to do the work study to work at the cafe if they want.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. So that's the whole, those are the three sort of end results of the class.
Yeah.
So
That's...
I hope more next semester.
Yep.
It can be fun and, and it is an easy class. And, I really wish some of them would just do the work a little bit more. But, one class was just list the products you want to sell.
It's pretty difficult.
That's a 10-minute assignment.
Yeah.
If you wanted to spend no time on it, 10 minutes maybe.
Jerry just writes cocaine.
Yeah,
hands it in.
exactly.
You're like, you can't do that. You can't sell that. Not a coffee shop.
So that's the class. It is fun. It can be more lively. Students just need to participate. So
When's sign up for the next?
I guess whenever next semester classes can be. I think you can be I think it can be as a non-credit course as well. I think they're open to that.
Gotcha.
Because we try. Somebody was asking me if they can ask me some questions about a coffee shop opening one.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why don't you sign up for the class? At least then I'm getting paid to give my advice for that. So, but never did. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
I think, probably towards the end of the semester, it'll be open.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, along the lines of you not getting paid to give advice, I'm going to ask you for some, just so people can get a little bit of like a taste of maybe what you say to people that are looking to start their own business in this field.
Yep.
Right. What are some things that they can look out for that will save them a lot of headaches, or, things that you wish that you knew earlier that you had to learn? That you wish that somebody kind of told you, or that you had that experience with earlier on?
Well, I didn't. I wish I knew that I would have to tell someone to stop picking their scabs and sprinkling it all over the store.
Other than that,
the first thing I tell anybody would be is you need to make sure that you understand that you're running a business. Mm-hmm. It's if you like to cook, or if you like coffee, you need to, and you want to open this, then you're opening this as a business. You can't do this as a hobby, especially for the amount of money that you're putting down in this. You're putting $90,000 possibly plus, and going north of that number to open a shop. Don't make it this can't be a hobby. It's like, I don't want to wake up today. You got to be there. You got to be consistent. Your hours got to be open. Mm-hmm. If you're saying you're open 7 to 2, then you're open 7 to 2 those days, not 7:30 because you woke up late, or, I have no customers today, so I'm closing at 1. You stay open till 2, and be consistent, and you, especially at the beginning, because you're new and it takes 3 years or so to, start getting your revenue where you may not want it, but you're hopefully seeing the trend going in the right direction.
Yep.
So that's, so that's my big thing is like, I've seen too many businesses downtown over the years open for 3 months and then they're closed. And I'm like, well, one, you didn't give it enough time.
Yeah.
Because if anyone told you that your restaurant is going to succeed in a 4-month period, then, you're obviously talking to the wrong people. So, go and make sure that you can support yourself in some way for 3 years. The next thing I would say with that is, from the support side, is know that it may not necessarily be 3 years where you can start fully taking out a salary, depending on what your business is. Expect the worst and hope for the best type of thing. I was able to start taking money out on my 3rd year, but I had to put back a little bit here and there, not as much anymore.
Yeah.
But it was, I needed to do that, which was good. I knew that I was at least taking some more in. Yep. And, really by the 5th year, I was done putting money in, and it was just sort of me now just taking my salary and being able to keep that salary. So, nice. Letting people know that you have to make sure that you're in a somewhat of a good spot. I mean, I took out my 401k, or most of it. I think I left myself a few $1,000 in there, but really most of it was gone to pay for this. Credit card debt, which I then went to the debt negotiators and debt settlers to do that. So I had no credit for a while, or any good credit. I'd let people tell people the truth. You've got to expect this. My friends were great. They helped me to the degree where they were like, I was like, they asked me out if I wanted to go out. I was like, no, I can't tonight. I just don't have the money. And they would buy me my food for a day or something like that. So they were great and helped me during that time. So it was good. But those are 2 things. The third thing that I would say, which is great, get yourself once you can, if you are able to, get yourself a good business credit card and get those points, especially in this business, because, if you know that you can pay off your cards, do it, because I don't pay all those travelings to those business expense trips I take. I don't really pay for the airline and sometimes the hotels, because my points pay for it. So, nice. From a restaurant perspective, you're buying a lot of stuff over the course of the month, and whatever vendors you can that are willing to, let you put it on the credit card, that was the best thing. Nice. Once I got credit back and I was able to get one of those, I got that, and it's been great. So
nice.
I cannot complain. It's a high annual fee, but it surely covers it, because I've definitely, spent more on my travel. So
that you've gotten back in rewards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's your go-to card for anybody?
I use American Express Platinum.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I know some people have the Capital One business. I don't know what the differences are. Maybe the annual fee is a little bit different, but I don't know what the differences in perks are.
The difference is the Amex is better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I thought the Amex was better. Yeah. No, I think that's a good point, though, is that I feel like that's such a thing that isn't necessarily directly related to your business or what you're doing, but something that everybody can benefit from, right? Where it's just like a fun little fact of being like, hey, make sure that you put everything on a business card.
If you can.
Get those points.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
you don't want to screw your credit up more if you can't do it. But, if you can afford it and you can do it, and you know that you've got the cash flow to do it, I would say, power to you.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
exactly.
We do
the same thing.
And I do premium economy now, because although premium economy prices to Asia have
skyrocketed.
Yeah, it used to be 1,100 for me. Now it's like 22, 23. I'm like, but even just economy, what used to be 500-600 to Asia is now 1,100-1,200. So
crazy.
Just means I have to, I guess spend a little bit more. So keep coming to the shop and buy things so I can buy more things.
It's Andy's nonprofit. Andy needs to go to Asia. That's it.
Help me travel.
Help Andy travel. Go shop at Brew'd.
Although I usually only take one vacation a year, but I am
Yeah.
trying to go a little bit. I am trying to take a few more vacations.
Yeah.
Need it now.
What are the benefits of you taking a vacation? Why do you think that people, especially business owners, need to take vacation sometimes?
Well, you got to refresh yourself. Everyone needs to do it, needs to just get away and escape. Staycations don't really work well for me just because my employees find it easy to find me, easy to get in touch with me.
Yeah.
Leaving the time zone, having that 11-hour time difference buffer helps a lot. It makes them think a little bit more. Do I really need to get in touch with him? Because when it's 2 p.m. here, it's 2 a.m. for me.
Yep.
So, I don't really get too many calls. It's happened occasionally.
Yep.
There's usually always one fire that I have to somehow help put out,
Yep.
not a actual fire, but
Yes.
although we have had where the fire alarm went off and I had to talk to them while I was in Hawaii. Yes, that was always fun. But usually there's always one thing.
Yeah.
Or I just might call if there's I know there's a big catering job. I'll just find out and just make sure that everybody's good, that we've got that settled.
Nice.
Especially if it's a customer for all of my customers, but especially if it's a customer that's been with me for catering for a long time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I think everyone needs to get away, regardless if you're owning a business or even just working, a general worker at whatever business you're working at, you need to get out of there every now and then and just do something else.
Yeah. Yeah. To your point, reset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Different time zone. I'm going to take that take note for that.
Yeah.
So I can get a little bit of peace and quiet.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Actually, no, you're up to 6 a.m. anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Every time
I
I
will
see
find
y'all
you.
boarding a plane, you're boarding together also.
Yeah.
So.
That's we usually don't fly without each other.
Yeah, there we go.
So-
Keep the wives at home and your vacation is with you too.
Yeah,
Want to
exactly.
come to Aruba?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah,
Happy anniversary then, both of you.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. No, whenever we travel, it's always for work.
Yeah.
Whenever we travel,
Exactly.
together. There was one time that we actually, it was funny because we did get a little mini vacation for a couple days because we had to fly to 4 different places around the U.S. over the span of 10 days. And we had a shoot in Florida for 4 days. And then we had to go to, where was it? It was Seattle and then somewhere else. I forget what it was. It was somewhere else in Florida for a day and then Seattle and then back to Boston.
Okay.
And there was a gap in between of the Florida and there. So we looked at it and we were for us to fly back to Boston, be there for a day and a half and then fly from there to Seattle, it's going to cost the same amount for us to go down to Miami and stay there for 2 days and then fly to Seattle. It's going to be the same price.
Yeah.
So we were even with stay, the flight from Miami was super cheap. Yeah. So we just ended up going down to Miami for a couple days and we got a nice little paid vacation from it. And then we flew out. But
Miami's
again,
nice.
it was going to be the same exact thing for the clients anyways. But that was, that was nice.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the only vacations that we've taken though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Miami's a nice place.
Yeah.
It is.
There's
Yeah,
a good Cuban restaurant. If you ever get back down that way.
We'll probably find our way there. What's the name of it?
Yeah, that time I knew I was going to corner myself into that.
Wow.
It's in Little Cuba.
Good place for it to be.
It will come to me at some point.
It's okay. Yeah.
But they had good live music.
Yep.
Good. Their short ribs were so good. Yeah. And they got me onto the old Cuban drink.
What is that?
So
Cuban drink?
yeah, it's
Your PK is interested.
it is.
I'm interested.
So it's aged rum. Although a lot of places end up using a white rum around here because they don't really have the aged rum, with muddled mint and Angostura bitters and lime juice. You shake it all together as well. So you muddle the mint and then you shake it all together. You pour it into, your little round glass, no ice, and then you top it off with champagne.
Okay.
Just a little bit of champagne. So think of it as a little bit of a twist on like a mojito, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
Interesting.
but so that,
Yeah, you'll have to figure out the name of that place afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
next
mean,
time
you
that
have
we-
your liquor license. Why don't you just start making
Yeah.
Brew'd?
So I make it for me every now and then, but I actually probably could make it with the mint tea. So because for my even though I have the liquor license, I can do whatever liquor drinks I want. However, I choose from a sales perspective to keep it very coffeehouse focused.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
So all of our
course.
cocktails have either tea or coffee, espresso, cold brew, even a smoothie or something like that. So even though I sell cans of Coke and I have rum in the store, I'm not going to sell rum and Cokes.
Yeah.
I'll make one for me behind.
Yeah,
while
while you're working, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's 9 a.m.
I'm
somewhere.
old enough and legal,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But
Is that why you're always so happy? there?
exactly, yeah. At 8 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
when you guys can legally serve.
That's right.
Yeah, so which I do sell. I used to sell a lot more at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning because the third shifters came off.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's sort of how we do our things. But I could probably make the old Cuban with our mint tea because that's what I did with our mojito. I did a kiwi mojito, and so we used our Moroccan mint green tea for the mint aspect, and then added the sugar, the rum, and mixed that, shake that, and then poured that in there, and then added the like the Sprite or the club soda.
One thing I wanted to circle back to, we talked a lot about employees and kind of stuff keeps getting brought up, but I wanted to ask you a couple things. One was, what makes a good employee? Like, I think that's something where it sounds simple, right? Be good, be a nice person, do your work. I don't know. But what makes, because I'm sure that you've experienced everything in between from horrible to amazing, but what makes a good one?
And how do you retain them?
Yeah. And how do you retain and maybe make them better, I guess, if you will?
Well, a good employee for me is just do the job they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, just as basic and straightforward as that. Be on time, be friendly, and do the job. Do it as the way that I've trained it and the way I've discussed. I've taught you how to do it.
Yep.
The food or the drinks and everything, so that we can be consistent. So that for me,
Yep.
if you can meet those criteria, then you're great. And then there's going to be those that do go above and beyond and all that, and remember names and can get the drinks out really quickly or food out, quickly as well. So that's good. Then there's always the ones that take a little bit longer. You work with them as
Yep.
best as you can,
Yep.
and continue. Some will eventually get it. It might really take a lot longer, and then they're like fine, they're great, and but it can be painful. When you have to explain things over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
My philosophy has always been, I'm one for chances. I will give people chances to, improve themselves, to get better. I don't like to fire someone if I don't have to.
Yeah.
One, because then I have to do interviews and train again, and I really that process is just laborsome. So so if I can, if it's just one silly thing, if someone's just late, I try to give them every opportunity to just not be late. Eventually I'll have to do something. I'll start off being like hey, remember, just leave 5 minutes earlier. And I might say that a couple of times. And then it might be, okay, you're going to lose your tips. Or I'm going to now, take away a shift from you. I don't want to do that. I hope that after the 10th time me saying it, especially if they're a good worker. If they're a good worker, then I'll give that little bit of a leeway. But I want them just to figure it out. I'm like, you're gonna have to do this. You need to be on time. This isn't rocket science, as they say. It's just leave, set your alarm 10 minutes earlier. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I try to give people time, and I do, for every little thing from, they could do the worst possible thing and I will give someone a second chance. Because again, a lot of my employees are young, they're high school.
Yeah.
So, this is the time when they need to make the mistake, and this is the job, as much as I, want everyone to be perfect, but this is really the job before they get into their, professional like job where they need to learn, you can make a mistake. That's fine. Own up to it, and let's move on. It's when you don't own up to it and you continue making those mistakes is when eventually I will kick in and be the ass if I have to. And I say that in the interview all the time. I'm like, the employees have the power to, have me just be nice and friendly all the time, but it's up to you if I'm going to be the asshole or not.
Yeah.
So, but it will take a while. It does take a little bit of time before I will pop, and then I'll start leaving the notes, and then I'll start, telling people your risk of losing tips or risk of, and I don't, just so people know, I don't keep those tips that they're losing. It just gets split amongst those that were working.
Yeah.
And be like, yep, because again, I'd rather them not lose a day because that means they don't get tips nor pay for that day. So, so I try whatever I can, and hopefully it never has to come to that. But
How many times do you think you've had to go to the extreme with people over the years?
Probably not many, actually.
Yeah.
Probably 2 or 3. Some people just will then, some people may just, if I'm telling them enough times and, they don't like being told and they may end up leaving, which is fine, if that's what they want to do. But, for the most part, my employees are good, and I know I keep saying that, but they for the most part they are good, and they all mean well, and they all work hard, and some again, like I said, you have to smack them every now and then, but
Yes.
but retention wise, my employees, I've got someone that's been with me 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 years.
Wow.
I've had one that's, I've had some that have done 3 tours with me. Some that have done, actually, I've had a few that have done 3 tours with me. And, I've got some, I've always had tenure for roughly around, on average, maybe about 4 years. And then every now and then there might just be a little bit of a mass exodus because they've been there for so long. Now they're looking for something to do.
Yeah.
Or they hopefully have graduated from college at this point. So, and now we'll get their, real person job.
Real person job.
Their real person job. Not that this isn't a real person job, but, the one that's going to give them the benefits and, that will help them move out of their house and, pay for their car. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so would you say that this is kind of like a, that stepping stool, like you're teaching them more than just like, hey, it's coffee, like you're teaching them things that they need for the next steps?
I would like to think that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they see it that way or if they get it. Some have said that, in the past, the employees have said that to me that, hey, thank you. Others, may not get it, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm very curious though, because one of the things that you said for if you were to have a podcast, why are you coughing over there? Okay.
Oh, the artesian water went down the wrong way.
I'll give you a second. You can breathe.
I can, yes.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Reset.
Reset.
That's actually why it's called Liquid Death.
Oh, because it's going to kill me.
Yep.
Yeah. Slowly.
So none of your guests really have left the building.
Nope, they're all downstairs.
Okay, all right.
Our retention rate is shit.
All right. No repeat customers.
Zero. Zero. So, with your answer to if you were to have a podcast, you mentioned, say, different stories about things that have happened at the cafe. I know that Gerry would love to know, and I would love to know anything that you would be
Yes.
yeah, cool with sharing.
Able to share. You can
Able
change
to
the
share.
names
You
to
could-
protect the innocent.
So we'll talk about a customer.
Okay, good.
No longer a customer of mine.
Yep.
So I will disclaim. I will put this that he does have he had an issue. He was homeless. He had then had a home and did not. And he would always come in, get his coffee. Nice guy. We would have conversations all the time. He was in a fairly okay state, mental state to some degree at that point. He was lucid and all that. He would, so come in for years. He then moved to Lawrence, and then he came back to Lowell because he didn't like what was happening there. So he was back at the shelter over here. And so, again, he'd come in, get his coffee. He would watch TV on his phone, and every now and then he would have the volume up high. And, this was one of those coffee house, etiquettes, bring headphones or something like that. Usually the store has their own music that they're playing. We shouldn't have to be hearing movies or anything else. So he always listened to baseball games. So I always had to say, Steve, hey, can we lower the volume a little bit? I actually even got him headphones and kept them at the store for him at times.
Oh, wow.
Although he didn't really use them. But so I had to do this. So then things unfortunately started going a little bit more downhill for him. And eventually I did have to, unfortunately, he got a little more violent, and so I had to ban him. But the funnier part of this was he was not always super clear on etiquette, I guess. Mm-hmm. So he came in one day with his laundry. Now, granted, I've already had a conversation with him, and I said, oh, hey, Steve, if you can we just lower the volume? And he said to me, he's like, hey, thank you because of, what happened to him. He just needs somebody to say that. And he's like, I appreciate that. So perfect. Mm-hmm. So what he said was, so he came from he went to go do his laundry at the laundromat, and he came in with his bag of clean laundry. And he then proceeded to take out the laundry and start folding it on all the tables. So I walked over to him and I said, at first I was just amazed.
Yeah.
So I was just like watching it out, and I was just like, wait, really? Wait, am I missing something? Is he really just folding out his
Am I
laundry?
awake right now?
Yeah. So I did let him just do it for a moment or two, just until I actually caught my until my head came back to the body. And and I walked over to him. I was like, hey, Steve. So I was like, you remember how you said that, just let if you're not doing something, if you're doing something wrong, not proper etiquette. I was like, well, folding your laundry at the coffee shop on the tables is not appropriate etiquette. So then he said, well, where would you like me to do it then, Andy? I was like, well, at the laundromat on the folding tables that they have there would have been the better place to do that. So I had a good laugh after a shake my head type of thing. This was sort of the start of when he started getting more pissed at me, and things just sort of went downhill from there. But so that was one funny story.
That is funny.
There is a lot of the etiquette bit of the stories. Someone came in with their full full meal from a different place. Didn't really buy anything. My employees called me up. I was like, just walk over to them and just kindly say, oh, hey, can we get you something? We do need, we have our own food and drinks here, so can't really have you, just eating outside food. And they're like, they said that they told, at least this is per my employee, that they work next door. So I'm like, okay, I don't know why that's important where they work, because I don't offer any special, leisure eat at my place with your own food for free type of deal that I offer. But so I ended up having to drive. Thankfully, I'm only like 5 minutes down, and I went over there, and I was like, so I had to like say something. I was like, hey, because they were still eating, even though after they told them. And so I got there, and they apparently knew that they didn't look familiar to me, but they obviously knew that who I was or that I looked like the person that came down for this. And I was like, hey, I know my employee mentioned to you, but I mean, it's kind of unfair to me and to them that you're bringing this, and she's like, oh, we know, we're leaving now. I was like, yeah, but the point is that you really shouldn't be doing that. It's like, you would not bring McDonald's into Burger King or Pizza Hut into Papagino's. So it's the same thing, all we asked was that you purchase something from our place also. We weren't asking you to not completely. So, there's like a lot of those little types of conversations.
Yeah.
So
Definitely seen some of you regulars.
yes.
And there's one that always kind of stands out. There's this one guy, kind of taller, and he'll just kind of like stare at you through
Spike.
That's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just like...
Yeah, he's got a social disorder.
Yeah.
He walks, you'll see him sometimes just walk down the middle of the street. He can talk, but he doesn't really talk. I did have to ban him because he just yelled at one point. Over apps for no reason. Because he doesn't verbally express what he'll come in and just, for those that are listening, I'm doing a little coffee cup hand signal. That's what he does. It's how he says it. And, and that's fine. We understand him, and we'll get him his coffee and all this. Or he'll point to a banana or chips, and we'll get that. And then, there was one day that I came in, I wasn't there, and I came behind the counter, and he was standing in line. I was like, Spike, is there anything that we can get you? And did you already order? And he shook his head that he was all set. And I was like, okay. So, and then all of a sudden he just like blew up at me saying, I've been waiting for my coffee. And I was like, I just asked you if you were waiting for anything. And he just started yelling. I was like, well, I'm sorry, you need to go. And so, it was a while that, and then he just came back in, and I let him. And again, because I am, even employees and customers, I always try to give people a couple of chances. I've done it with, the homeless that have come in, and, we're downtown, but I empathize with that, and, we'll do there's a couple that I've given chances with, and just have to say, you can't solicit in the store, or Willie, or, you have to sit down. You can't do Tai Chi in the middle of the store. And, and I would give free coffees to them. And, for a year, I would continuously do this, and then it just gets worse and worse. And and then they start yelling again, because now they're, something going on, but I can't have that in the store. I've tried so hard but then I've had to ban some of them as well. And,
must be difficult finding that balance.
It is.
You still want to be compassionate.
Right. I mean, my employees prefer, they would rather see you just, if they're giving issues once, that be done.
Which is tough because you want your employees to feel safe.
Right. And, so, but I do give them the ability that if anybody, regardless of whatever demographic, socioeconomic demographic they're in, if anyone's giving them a problem and if they feel unsafe, they have the right to just call the police, and because I want them to know that they can do that and have that ability. I'll take whatever comes with it, but but they need to feel safe. But
of course.
But I try to explain to them, listen, this is what I'll do. I can let them, if we have to say, in some cases it was, Willie, I don't want to see you for the rest of the day today. You've come in, you've already pissed everyone off enough. You're done for the day. I don't want to see you until tomorrow.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, but yeah, we get all the types. So, but
not all like
that's
that,
what
though.
a community coffee shop is supposed to
exactly.
do. So,
Yeah, where some people won't even, some business owners won't even give them the first chance.
Yeah.
So it shows a lot that you actually did.
So I do try. Shannon, I don't know if you.
Yeah.
So he was a regular of mine. Yes. I know someone on Facebook commented that they didn't like when I said he had his issues or he was annoying. He was, but he was a good guy still, and I helped him out where I could, and we let him sit and all this, but he had his issues, and he could be annoying to people and to the employees at times. So. I'm sorry if this Facebook person is listening to this, but it's true. But, I look at it this way. If your grandfather or someone dies, my grandfather I loved, but he grew up like in the early 1900s, and he was a racist. He did not like, I still love my grandfather now. But, he, but you can say those things and still know that you still cared for the person.
Exactly.
But Shannon, again, we constantly gave chances, but I would have to tell him, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
We don't want to see you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Now, do you find yourself, because I feel like, to your point, right, how a lot of people wouldn't even give chances to people. Do you find yourself doing that in your personal life as well, or just in business? Yeah.
Yeah. I always was like that.
Yeah.
So, I'm too, I am trustworthy. I am trusting. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. So I do try to give people, no matter what, second, third chances.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we all do stupid things.
True.
And
Not me.
Depending.
Definitely
not Gerry. Yeah.
Nope,
Gerry's
the
perfect.
smartest
Yeah.
person alive.
Never screwed up in his life.
Not once.
So so I think you have to. Unless it's like really, really, like if someone if my friend murdered someone, I'm not going to give you another chance. But if you tried to murder me, I'm not going to give you a second chance.
That's
if you
true.
failed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But if
No, I feel you. Especially, I learned earlier on that I would like, it was when it came to specific things that I would give people second chances on. Like, I remember I used to start cutting people off real quick when it came to like career stuff, or when I knew that this was going to be my career. A brief example is when I was in college, it was like my big final senior thesis project, and like a really close friend of mine. And if you're, if you're listening to this or watching this, I forgive you, but no, I don't care anymore. But he was supposed to have a role in something, and he was supposed to be a specific thing. And then he just completely didn't show up, and he ghosted, and like didn't even hear from him for months. Like, it was one of those things. And he was like one of my closest friends. And then I was like, you're dead to me. I was like, I don't care to talk to you ever again, because this is what I'm going to do as a career.
Yeah.
I've definitely, though, in other situations, have given more chances than I should have, especially in like relationships in the past and things like that. I don't know if you've ever, experienced that with making those mistakes of, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And you learn, hey, we learn from it as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you have to. Yeah. Well, speaking of, just because I'm nosy as hell, how do you find running a business and trying to handle like relationships?
Well, the good thing, I guess the good and or bad is that I am never had really many relationships.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
it's, from the, other than like friends and all that
Well,
stuff.
yes,
So,
yes.
So, I mean, the friends wise is no issue. So
Yeah.
it's always been harder to find from the dating perspective because
Yeah.
a lot of the folks that I meet are people that come to the shop because I'm there. So, and I don't really want to be that owner who's asking out all the customers.
Yeah.
It works
Yeah.
fine for employees and
Oh, yeah.
customers.
Yeah.
But it becomes sleazy and creepy if the owner is constantly doing that. So, so I don't really, I stay away. I try to stay away from that, and but that's why I try to go a little bit more into Boston a little bit more frequently now.
Yep.
I mean, I do go to a lot of places in Lowell, but
Yep.
if I want to meet someone that may not be my customer or some,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the way that I have to do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. That
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep. Don't shit we eat, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, exactly.
It's one of those things that I always like talking to business owners about, because I always just find it interesting when, how people manage, just relationships. Cause I
Yeah.
feel like it's either not like easy, but I feel like it has to be, it's so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not easy.
It's
But-
not. You just
yeah.
have to, like, being a business owner or running your own business, you have to find somebody who understands that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, if you're, depending on what your hours are. I mean, for me, it also makes it more difficult. If I was a bar, at least a lot of more folks are, if you're at a bar, if you're an owner of a bar or something like that, I would think at least, you're there when people are being social.
Yes.
Versus
Yep.
just coming in, running out, where
Yeah.
for me, it's a coffee shop. A lot of people are running in, running out.
Yep.
My hours also are, I'm up at 3:30 in the morning. So I'm, me staying up until 10, 12 o'clock so that I can go to bars and meet folks during the week is really kind of,
Yeah.
it's kind of tough because I need a little bit more than 3 hours of sleep every night. So
You do?
yeah.
Good thing you own a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Even that. So,
Yeah.
there's only so much coffee you can drink without, when you're tired, you're just tired.
Yeah.
So,
No, that
yeah.
makes sense. Well, I don't know what your situation is right now, but if there is nobody in your relationship orbit, then if you're watching this, anybody, we have somebody over here on a blue couch that's looking, mighty.
Well, the good
handsome. I
news
know that
is
you can't see
there
him.
is somebody right now. So, yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I take that back. Unless he messages me after this and it doesn't
Yes,
work
exactly.
out.
Maybe
Yeah.
in a month
Well,
when this happens.
By the time this comes out, we'll let
Yes.
you know. Yeah. If
Little
if
disclaimer- little note on the bottom, a
There'll be a little
scrolling box.
scrolling text here with
Yes.
his number. And,
Exactly.
no,
If
it's
you see my
private-
number, then you know that things changed.
Yeah, it's his private email. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, good luck.
Thank
good
you.
luck with
Yes.
Kind of circling back a little bit to support and how it's important to have people supporting you. One of the things that I noticed about you is that you're always out downtown Lowell supporting other local businesses. Why, in your words, is it important to shop local?
Well, especially in downtown, most of our businesses are local. It really is just they all employ mostly local employees, and so everyone's got to help each other. And what is it, the rising tide lifts all boats type of thing. So you got to try to help everybody out, and there's a lot of good places also.
There are,
So they're not. You don't always have to go to the main. The franchises, chains, big box stores, and all that stuff. So so that's sort of why I support. I like what they're serving, what they have, and they offer. They're my friends as well, and it helps keep the money down here in Lowell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the community. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Shop local.
Exactly.
Shop local. Yes. We've always been big supporters of that.
Yes.
Yep.
So so again, shopping local, I love the term kind of like regular, right? Like you have a lot of regulars.
Yes.
How do you get a regular? Like how do you create a regular where they keep coming back and then this is their go-to coffee shop?
Well, hopefully they like the place, but it's also making, trying to remember their name, trying to remember their drink, knowing it once you do start knowing it, if they're in line, if they're the third person back and you're working on a couple things and you're pouring a coffee, you pour that person's coffee as well. And you're like, oh, hey, John, here's yours once you pay for it and all that stuff. Or, if either if they got money on their account already, or, if they're in a hurry or something like that, and you're like, hey, just get me later. So, it's just basically customer service, hopefully you're providing good customer service and that they like the stuff that, makes them the regular. But, having the conversation with them every now and then all is good as well. So, it's not just like they come in, get your thing. So, there are some, and again, my, how I do it and how my employees are really completely different employees. They do have some conversations with some folks. They know the names and all that and the drinks, and they definitely will get some of that stuff going.
Yeah.
I tend to have a little bit more of the conversations with the customers, and some of my older, my more tenured employees, plus they're a little bit older as well. They'll tend to have conversations with some of the employees as well. Gotcha. But I feel like that's the way to try to keep them.
I mean, that's why I'm a regular there. The quality, the consistency, and atmosphere.
Yeah, and we remember you.
Yeah, exactly.
So. I mean, we all start. You're here, so I mean that you're sitting on this couch during this podcast because we became regulars, and we're like, we enjoy this person and this human enough. Let's have him on the podcast.
Now, granted, I can never recognize his voice when he calls up for his order.
Not once.
Until he says the order, then I know. Yeah. But the Andy, can I have this?
I even try to say his name because I recognize his voice.
Well, yes, because I even say my name.
Yeah. Not always. Yeah. Sometimes.
I think I do. I know. I think
I'll usually just give you shit. And then I'll say it, and then you'll be like, "Oh, is this Mike?" And I'll be like, "Yes, it's Mike."
So I know it wants the order. But I'm just bad at voices on the phone.
Yeah.
Anyways, in general,
I'm just gonna, whenever I know it's you from now on, I'm just gonna put on a different voice.
Okay.
I'm gonna be, "Hello, could I have a large iced decaf mocha latte without?"
One of the young ones, or
I don't know what that is.
Monty Python.
I initially wanted to start going with Mrs. Doubtfire, and then it just
that's what that was.
It just took a left turn to another country, and I'd take that back. I'm just gonna stick with using my regular voice.
Then wait for the is this Mike?
Yeah, then wait for the is this Mike? No, now I'm gonna do that because now you're gonna know that it's me if I do that voice.
Whatever that voice was.
Whatever that was.
That if I don't recognize the voice, it's going to be all Mike's now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Is this Mike? No. Yeah. So. Oh, man.
I'm not dead.
Perfect.
I'm feeling better now. That was a great skit.
Oh, my God. Oh, speaking about regulars, something that is not regular, something that is very unique is...
Do you take Metamucil for this?
Fiber one.
Close. It is brought to us by our sponsor today, which is 41st Studios, because something that is very unique is this backdrop system that we are in front of right now. This is not regular.
Why isn't this regular?
Yeah,
Mike? What is unique about this backdrop?
You cannot find this anywhere else. It is a unique rail system.
What's unique?
All of these backdrops condense into one area to save people space and save people time. And then when you want to use a specific one, you just pull it out so that you can do many different backdrops in a short amount of time.
Setting up a backdrop from scratch is a pain in the ass?
I would say it's the biggest pain in the ass.
How long can that usually take?
I don't know, maybe like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes longer.
I guess it would depend on the backdrop.
That's true.
I'm assuming this green one probably took less than taping, gluing. And these $100 bills are real, by the way.
Real
they are.
They let me take two of them when I leave.
Yes, that's his
That's
compensation.
how we had to bribe him to be on the podcast.
That's how we bribe him. We're like, listen, we got a wall of money waiting for you. Okay. Yeah. These, well, what we're talking about is like, you know, the regular backdrops that go up on stands and stuff.
Yes.
And then it comes down. So like those can usually take like, 15, 20 minutes for someone to set up.
Sometimes longer.
So with this, if you have your lights set up and whatever you want, you can just swap them in and out. So you just pull one out, you push it aside, you pull the next one out, you can do your stuff. We've done many different setups. We've done like 3 or 4 different setups within like a minute. So, which is pretty impressive compared to 15 to 20 minutes each.
Huh?
So that is why this is unique. Plus, you won't find this anywhere else. This was made by our contractor and very good friend, Dylan Carnes, with this system. So
We wanted to do that because
very nice.
people rent by the hour here.
Yep.
So if you're a creator renting by the hour and you're spending 20, 40 minutes setting up a backdrop, it's going to eat into your time. So
Right.
with this, we maximize the amount of time that people can create in our studio.
yes,
Cool.
so it
It
saves
does look
people
good.
time and it saves people money. Plus, they're double-sided too. We'll show you the other background. It's all records and there's like a
yep.
vintage wallpaper one on there.
okay.
So we got some pretty unique stuff, and we're going to be adding some more soon. But
Sweet.
yeah, we just wanted to.
Shout out to our sponsor, which is us.
Which is
41st
us,
Studios.
41st Studios, and soon to be Brew'd Awakening, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. We'll just pressure them.
You can take an extra bill.
Yeah, you can take an extra bill. Just one more from the bottom. Bringing it back though to something that I wanted to bitch at you for.
Okay.
All right.
What, did I get rid of a mortar or something?
No, you got rid of a while ago, even though I don't even think it was you. And I know that a lot of it was due to COVID, but bring back the open mics. I used to love the open mics.
Oh, well, that actually was because they moved locations
boo.
because we were too small for the
Boo.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, complaints.
So,
Well, if you want them back so badly, Mike, maybe you should spearhead the next open mic.
God.
there we go. Yeah.
uh,
what would you
just a
what would
thought.
you be doing?
If you had an open mic, what would it be?
This would be the
If I were to have an open mic, yeah.
you could call it the 40 studio.
Yeah, 41st open mic. I don't know. I don't know. I remember I used to love going to them. That was actually like that was the first place that I've ever actually done something at an open mic that I felt comfortable enough to go up in front of
Okay.
people.
remember
Was
that.
at Brew'd, and that's like one of the things that actually got me more comfortable with coming to Brew'd and me becoming a regular. In addition
Yep.
to you being so just devilishly handsome, was the open mics. I used to love those open
Yeah,
mics.
I mean, it was
but-
sad that they went.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously went for a good reason,
Of course,
because they
yeah.
needed a
Yeah, they needed a bigger
larger
space.
space for
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, I mean, but we
Yeah.
had them for a good 12 years before COVID then
Yeah,
killed it,
yeah,
or
yeah.
at least from
Yeah.
our side.
Of course. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, would that be something you'd ever bring back, you think, for the open mics?
I mean,
it
if
made
somebody
sense?
wants to, to run it and all that,
Yeah.
it's not anything that I would.
Yeah, that you'd be
that I-
spearheading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't have any more time, and I want to
Yeah.
be home at that point.
Makes sense. That's true. That's true. It was later in during the week.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? Maybe maybe we'll do some.
I mean, we did, again, right before, of course, we did this started 3 months before COVID hit. We did a trivia night.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yep.
especially since we had the cocktails, I was kind of hoping that might
Yeah.
be like on a small night.
Yep.
That nobody else was doing theirs. So,
Yep.
but then, of course, again, COVID. And so I just didn't bring that back.
Yeah.
So.
No, that makes sense. Do you do a lot of events? You don't as much anymore.
No,
right?
not anymore.
Yeah.
We used to do the music during the day on Saturdays, but on the evenings or during the afternoons, and then but again, the business grew, which
Yeah.
was a good thing, and there wasn't really a lot of space
Yeah.
in our place to
Yeah.
do it, so it just became more cumbersome trying to find something. I always go back and forth, but never really end up having the time to maybe doing something like outside during the summer months, especially since we've got the umbrellas
Yep.
and the
Yeah.
seats and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
that may be something down the road that I think of. But other than that, the artist might have an opening reception.
Yep.
We'll have one the beginning of December for the artist that's hanging up at that point. But
Nice.
other than that, that's really one of the few events that we do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You just gotta knock down a wall and take over your neighbor's space.
Yeah. there you
Yeah, well, one side's a hallway.
That's fine. I don't mind.
To entrance. And then the other one, they're their entranceway to their stairs. So
They don't need
that
that.
would be no, they don't need to get up to their apartment.
No,
Yeah.
no, they're
That's what
fine.
the fire escape's
Yeah,
for.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So okay, so you're. It doesn't sound like you're going to expand, but one way that you've expanded is getting a new truck, which is exciting.
Yes, I would not use the word is because it's not current. But
okay.
I have it.
You have
The truck is up here now.
Yep.
The company that I use sucked.
Nope.
It's been a 2.5-year process and still not done because this company sucks. I won't well, hopefully it will be. Hopefully it will be done by the time this is airing.
Hopefully, but if not, then
and I don't think they're gonna watch this, so don't ever use the company Carpaccia. They're based out of Holland. Horrible. The guy's a crook, as far as I can say.
and I can second this from everything that Andy has told me over this 2.5-year process.
Yes.
I have been following along with this every time I've gone in and asked him what's new. And this would be a completely whole other podcast with everything that has happened that he would tell. But you could continue.
It's amazing that I actually can semi-smile and joke about it when I talk about it and not like, cartoon have the smoke coming out of my ears and all that and turn red. But it looks great. The garage people did well. There's nothing with the garage folks. It has everything to do with their management. He's run out of money several times. He asked for more money, used that money to pay vendors for other jobs because they wouldn't do any more jobs for him. He said that my job was going to be done last year, like July, then became August. Nope, November. Nope, we've got another job in place. Once we finish this, your truck is the only truck that's going to be touched. That was in February. Then it didn't get touched until like July. So then they finally started doing work. I eventually went down there because this was in Georgia, Atlanta now, even though it's a Holland-based company. They had their U.S. garage in Georgia. Saw the progress on it. Everything seemed to be going well. The beginning of, that was June, and then July, at the beginning of August, before my vacation. The inside's all done. They were just going to bring it to the mechanic because the wheel brake cylinder just needed to be replaced. I get back from my vacation. They ordered the parts. It's at the mechanic. They're just waiting. He's just waiting for it. September comes. Still at the mechanic, but then I get a phone call from one of the garage people saying, oh, hey, Tim closed the garage. He didn't have any money. He hasn't been paying us. He hasn't been paying the rent. He's moving things to Indiana. I was like, but my truck's at the mechanic. No, it never went there because he didn't have money to pay the mechanic. We were going to do it here. So eventually I got back in touch with Tim and told him, just ship me the effing truck here. I will get it fixed. I was like, ship me the parts that you have, and then when the other parts come in, just have them come directly to me. He's like, okay. They haven't been shipped yet because that distributor didn't have the 2 parts. So I'm starting to look so the truck is now up here. So I'm like, hey, what are the parts? What's the part numbers? So I can see if I can find them as well. Oh, we have to do the research and get you the part numbers. But wait, you ordered them. So just ask the distributor what the part number is.
That distributor doesn't exist.
They were never ordered.
Yeah.
So I found some parts that I am hoping are the right ones. I ordered them. So I've got the parts now. I got to go to I'm going to bring them to a mechanic. Hopefully they'll be able to work on it.
I know a guy. He's new in town. His name's Tim.
He's from Holland. Came over to the States. Yeah. But then the other issue is at the same time that they told me at the beginning of August that they needed to just bring this to the so-called mechanic, they lost the title to the truck. The title, now this truck is, the reason I went with this company is because they do sort of these exotic trucks, and they have experience because they've been doing them in Europe. So I got this German, well, it was based in Poland, but it's a Daimler-Benz, an 81 Mercedes Daimler-Benz T2L, which was basically, this was used as a Polish fire truck. So it was a different shape. It's not your typical box thing. So that was sort of the reason why I went with it, because it was something different. But they lost the title. And so they have supposedly been working with the Polish lawyer to try to go to the wherever, either municipality or whatever form of government, to try to get this new title, because they had to show bill of sales and all this stuff. That's been going on. I still don't have it. They apparently weren't getting response from this lawyer. So when I talked to them, they're like, "Well, we're thinking of getting a new lawyer." I was like, "Well, I think it's not thinking of it. Is you need to get a new lawyer."
Yeah.
So then I sent for the next update, and they come back and they're like, "Well, we're having difficulty finding a U.S. speaking lawyer," which I feel I feel like Poland, a lot of folks, I feel like it's got to be easy. But regardless, I wrote back again. I try to be not completely mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, I appreciate the difficulty of finding an English basic lawyer, an English speaking lawyer, but you're telling me that my $100,000 truck has to sit and hold cement down because you can't find a lawyer for something that should never have been lost in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, here's a solution for you. Hire a translator and a lawyer together. And there you go. And they write back, "Oh, that's a good idea." I'm like,
Oh my God.
you know, I still owe some money on this, not a lot, but I still owe about $7,000.
Yeah.
Hopefully, again, that they're not listening to this. Once they send me that document, that money's this will be, I am going to be the ass in this case. I'm not sending it to them. I'm thinking of suing them anyways for all of this, because I've saved every email from them, and this is just gross negligence on their behalf.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't have to say.
And I mean, the only question would be is how
crazy.
I sue a Holland-based company.
Yeah.
They're registered still in Atlanta, but if they're moving the things to Indiana, I'm not doing this until obviously this truck is until I receive everything.
Yeah.
But this is just the fact that they lost the title. It's like, did you guys ever think of a filing cabinet, folder,
anything?
Just
at all.
it's being worked in the garage. It's staying in the garage It's like, no one's stealing this thing. Just keep it in the glove compartment.
Yeah.
But does it even exist?
Well,
Do they even
I do have the electronic version of it,
Okay.
but
All right.
I can't use
Yeah.
that. So,
Wow.
I'm trying to think of alternatives myself. I
Yeah.
gotta talk to some folks about some stuff, but
That's crazy.
but yeah. So that's truck. It does look nice in the inside.
Yeah.
I get to drive my car to it and just sit and
Look at it.
But because until I get it fixed,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I'm going to be having to tow it everywhere. I'm going to tow it there. Then I have to get a lift gate so I can put the generator on it. Once I get the generator on it, then at least I can get it inspected, because now I can get it started and have them check everything.
Gotcha.
And then I'm going to try to see if I can find maybe just a spot in the time being where I can just keep it and use it there, just so I can start maybe earning some income off of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the plan once everything's all set? What's the plan for the truck?
I want to work with the high school, because they've been trying to find ways to get their kids in on time. And a lot of them are out and about, in downtown buying coffee and all that. So maybe by making it
interesting.
accessible to them right there, with an online ability, then, they'll be right there and can easily just walk in.
Yeah.
That's one in front of the courthouse a couple of days during lunch after or right around the
a
lunch
good spot,
break.
Yeah.
But I also want to do events, like the kinetic
Yeah.
race I was going to do. Was one thing. The Southeast Asian Water Festival I wanted to do. Those are two. But I also want to maybe do a day in Boston or a day in Worcester. I want to do maybe a beer festival up in Vermont. Because they're going to want to have a non-alcoholic alternative. So, and we're just doing drinks. It's just no food. It's just going to be nice and simple. Basically, a lot of our drinks that we do between the coffees, teas, and espresso drinks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that's the plan.
Nice. And then, eventually one of our pop-ups, right?
Well, we can do a pop-up here. I know some
out
folks
front.
want me at like
right
a
out front.
farmer's market. Ideally, I would, I want to try to do things maybe more during the week than the weekend because I do want to try to have my weekends off because
course.
right now it is a standard and I am the only one that really knows how to drive the standard.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
so I would need to find someone who knows how to drive standard or teach them how to drive a standard.
I'll do it.
Can you drive standard?
Nope.
All right.
He'll learn. Yeah, he's a quick learner.
So
I'll figure it out. Can't be that hard, right?
yeah,
You just do this.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't worry about the clutch. That's just there for show.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What a headache. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for when all that is said and done.
I am too.
Yeah, I know how excited you are. Yes. Oh man. Well, what a nice note to ease off on, even though that as we begin to wrap this up on such a wonderful story.
Yes.
Before we do, is there anything? A couple things that we like to always say. Well, one, is there anything else that you had that you wanted to talk to him about? Any other questions that you had, Gerard?
Not that I can legally ask on camera.
That's true. That's true. So we'll save those.
Yes.
Yes. Once we have a Patreon, that's where you're going to see all of
Yes.
those questions we asked. But a couple things that we like to do at the end is, one, if there's anything else that you want to say at all, whether it's about your business, whether it's something that you think would be good for people to hear, that they can take value from, a funny story that you want to share. And then the second thing would be if you end up having any questions for us. We always like to open up the floor for that as well.
God, I think my brain is just totally fried right now.
I feel you.
Yeah, no, other than, hey, if you are listening and you do want to try us, we're at 61 Market Street downtown. We do have cocktails. We're going to hopefully be introducing soon a bunch of new espresso martinis. So, yes,
have my
a chai espresso martini, a chocolate peanut butter cup espresso martini.
And when's that coming out?
Basically, it's when my ass gets the ladder out and just writes them on the friggin' board.
I'll go write them on the board.
So
I will go tonight.
I've already got the menu for the recipe for the employees written out. I just gotta get the 5 minutes. So I might do it. I might actually may remember
Okay.
have some of them for Saturday if I
Okay.
end up doing it outside.
Okay.
Yes. So
That's one way to get me there.
Yeah, there we go.
I will say that you do have the best Irish coffee in town.
Oh,
I'll
thank
give
you.
that. Yeah. So
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to trying that.
Irish coffees and the espresso martinis are probably our most popular ones. Then followed by our Hage lemonade, which is lemonade with elderflower liqueur and gin.
I think Kim's tried that. She
Yeah.
said that it's really good.
Yeah, I've tried
So-
that before too. It's pretty good.
Again,
Yeah.
I don't drink,
I
but
do.
whenever he does heavily. But whenever we travel, we always, I just always, like to try to find stuff for him
For
to
him to
drink.
try?
Yeah, for him to
Okay,
try.
all
And I live
right.
vicariously through him.
Yes.
But but espresso martinis and Irish coffees and all that stuff are always his. That's
His
we
go-to.
needs to try that everywhere that we
Yeah.
go.
Yep, which I do. And
Yeah.
what I will say is what sets yours apart is, again, you roast your own beans. So
Yeah.
it's always fresh and delicious.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And he's not just saying that because you're here. He has said that to me in private before. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes. Well, Andy, thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, thanks. This was fun. This was a good time.
You had a good time?
Yes.
Awesome. That's all that we care
Nice and
about.
relaxed. Now I'm gonna just go sleep.
Good.
Although
That's
my
fine.
dog,
Yeah.
my dog is gonna hate me right now.
Oh no, we gotta get back to what's your dog's name again?
Weiler.
Weiler.
Yeah.
All right, Weiler. Hi.
He's a little deaf, so he probably can't hear you.
Right.
Oh.
He can see you. There you go. Yeah.
I'll wave faster. Well, yes, thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate you coming on, and always just being so great to us. And
welcome.
also
No, you guys are all good.
and also a piece of shit at the same time whenever
Yeah.
we go in. It's a happy balance, you know what I mean? So you've have a couple regulars for life here, and I know that
Thank
you
you.
have a lot more that feel the same way that we do. So thank you for taking the time to do this, and I'm going to let Gerry send us off because this is my favorite thing every podcast
Sign off.
is Gerry attempting to sign off every
Fumbling
time.
over my words. Yeah,
It's great.
So, you would think at this point I would try and prepare, but I always, I always just kind of wing it.
Yeah, it's great.
On the
And
cuff
it's always great. I'm going to take a sip of our future sponsor here before I send this off.
Watch, he's just going to come out and crush it the first take.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm the lucky charm.
Yeah.
And there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching and or listening to If I Were to Have a Podcast. And thank you, Andy, for being on. If you want to have the best sex of your life, go down to... all right, let me try that again.
All right.
All right, that's why he loves when I do this. I thought I had it there for a
thought
second.
You're
I
good
was
you're good
shocked.
at the beginning.
I was like, you even
Yeah.
said watch and listen, which you never
Yeah.
remember to say.
All right.
You got this.
And there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching and or listening to If I Were to Have a Podcast. And thank you, Andy, for being on. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we're going to be pumping out episodes every single week. And make sure to hit the like button. Did I already say that part? I don't think I did.
No.
All right, let me retract. Circle back. All right, there you have it, folks. Fuck off. This will take another hour or two, so buckle up.
Yeah.
I apologize to your dog. And there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for joining us on If I Were to Have a Podcast. And thank you, Andy, for joining us on If I Were to Have a Podcast. And I'm going to take it from the top again. Fuck. I should really start preparing for these, huh?
No, not at all. You got this. You got this.
And there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for joining us on If I Were to Have a Podcast. And thank you, Andy, for being on. If you liked this episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we're going to be pumping out episodes every single week. Make sure to hit that like button. And down in the comments, let us know who you want to see us podcast next with.
Podcast next.
I would have kept it in. And all right.
That's a verb now, right?
It is.
Podcast next.
All right. And there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching and or listening to If I Were to Have a Podcast. And thank you, Andy, for being on. And if you want to, if you want the best coffee of your fuck, what is going on with my brain right now?
Oh, if you like this episode,
And there you have it. All right. Will you get your shit together? Stop giggling so much. And there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching If I Were to Have a Podcast. And thank you, Andy, for being on. If you want some good coffee, head down to Market Street in Lowell, Massachusetts, down to Brew'd Awakening. Hit that subscribe button because we're going to be pumping out episodes every single week. Make sure to hit that like button. And down below in the comments, let us know if you have any questions for us because we actually pay attention to that stuff. So thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, it was great.
Good job.
It's good, except for that last bit. And
No.
thank you so much for watching and or listening. And thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to pick it up.
Do it.
from
Yep.
there. Yeah.
Do it up.
And thank you so much for joining us today on If I Were to Have a Podcast.
Awesome. You did it.
I
First take.
fucking nailed it.
First take.
Dun,
All right.
dun.
First take.
if I were to have a podcast,